If you're ready to buy or sell your home, then stop in at 4234 Market Street to let one of the agents at Howard Hanna Professionals help. Our friendly and knowledgeable agents can help you find the key to your dream home. Looking for a new career? Howard Hanna Professionals can help there too. Howard Hanna Professionals will assist new and experienced agents with the startup fees for an exciting career in real estate. Call Katrina Laurie at 814-726-2000 for more information.
Here at Casella, we make temporary dumpster rental easy, offering services that are perfect for construction, remodeling, special events, or other short-term projects. Casella dumpsters are available in a wide range of sizes to fit any job. Our dedicated customer service team will help you choose the right size container and service level for your project and schedule hassle-free removal based on your specific needs. The right size dumpster, when you want it, where you want it, removed when you say so.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Coffee and a Conversation here on your Daily Local. Brian Hagberg with you, and we've got a very special guest this week, the marketing director over at Worx, Jenny Phillips. And Jenny, it's been about 2 months now since the brand launch. That was kind of the big major milestone for your first year over at Worx, which you can see in the corner of your screen there. The new Warren County brand and what is that tagline, slogan? What do we?
Yeah, our tagline. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The place to become.
Yeah.
Which is left open to interpretation and by design, right?
It is. Yeah. So thanks. First, thanks for having me on here.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. So I've been with Worx for almost a year and a half. Really great adventure. And we launched the new brand about 2 months ago. A little bit of a longer process than we initially had thought to get the brand rolled out, but it was super important working with the agency up in Rochester that, we get something like this right. And we wanted to make sure that it, the brand felt comfortable. It represented who we think and who we know Warren County is. And so I think, having it in September and having the attendance that we had at the event definitely seemed like people were enthusiastic about what we were doing.
It's a very, very well attended event. Had the pleasure of being there myself, and it seemed there was a lot of excitement for the launch, and people were ready for it. So we've got, if you haven't seen it, here it is full screen. Kind of walk through the different elements there. Within the W itself is the logo, right?
Yep.
So kind of explain what those different elements are in the letter.
Yeah. So in the exploration of, what the new Warren County brand would be and how we would position ourselves, we thought, what are those elements that really encompass Warren County? And certainly, as you see in the first part of the W, it's the courthouse, and it's a historic building, and there's been a lot of history that's taken place there. And so history and culture is definitely something that we felt Warren County as a huge part of who we are and how we, came to be who, what we are today. And then certainly, in the orange part, that cog, it represents our business and industry. There's been a ton of businesses that have been started here from families and that have been here for years and have really made a place in their segment of industry. And so Worley, Betts, Superior, those are just some really great examples.
Your Daily Local.
Your Daily Local, exactly. And you can't discount the small businesses either. Certainly, we've seen a ton of that over the years, and certainly growing up in Warren, there's been businesses that are still here from when I was a kid. So definitely that's a huge part of Warren County. And then the green and the nature, I think that no one can doubt that we have so much outdoor recreation and nature around us, and that's really I think really what we're known for, which definitely can't discount, but definitely the last part, which is the sun, kind of creates vitality and that quality of life that we have. I think a lot of people discount what a great place this is to live, and everyone's quality of life is different. Whether it's you value the safety and security that we have, in Warren County. There's not a ton of, heavy crime.
No.
You don't have to worry about your kids being out on the street playing with their friends. Maybe your quality of life is the fact that, you're able to raise a family here, in our great, and the great resources that we have from schooling and just the outdoors and the exposure that they have to our business scene. So that's really what represents those 4 pillars in the W. And then, like you had mentioned before, the place to become, that's it's a stem from the place to be. And I think that leaving it open-ended like that, that's what we want you to fill in. What is Warren County to you? What is it allowing you to be and to become? Whether you've lived here your entire life, you've left and came back, you're an implant here, moving here, just out of the blue because you found that it was a great place to live. And so that's, I think, the beauty of why we selected or why we came up with the place to become, because it's really whatever you want it to be. For me, it's a place that I grew up and kind of molded me into who I am, and came back after being gone for a while. And, I met my husband here, my family's here, I became the girls basketball coach at the high school. So it's really, it's whatever you want it to be. And I think, that was the purpose of why we did that. So.
Well, and you mentioned the vitality and maybe being a bit of an underrated aspect of the county, and I think you and I are perfect examples of that. We grew up here, left. I know, at least personally, I kind of are left, and I'm not coming back here, right? No. And then coming back and realizing, okay, maybe it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was, and I know. Speaking with Savannah Casey and Danny Flasher on Warren City Council recently, both have said, they were part of that crowd, and I'll readily admit I was part of the crowd too, that there's nothing to do here. Right. And now it's just that kind of understanding and looking back and going, okay, there actually was a lot to do. And it's whether, how much of it was it just I didn't take the time, effort, or energy to find some of those things, and now I see it all the time. I say to people all the time, we do our weekly newsletter, and I always include just from Wednesday to Tuesday, and those Friday, Saturday, Sunday days of things that are going on. It is insane. And then you get paragraphs that are this big, and it's like, how anybody can continue to say there's nothing to do. Is everything going to be for everybody? No, of course not. But there's enough variety there that there's probably something for just about everybody.
Oh, 100%. And I, again, not knowing what you don't know, I didn't know how much stuff we have going on the weekends. And I think it's across the county. And it's not just, the same things all the time. It's like new things pop up here and there, and new organizations wanting to do stuff. It's really all in how you embrace it. You either want to get involved, or you want to go to these events and see what they're all about, or you're okay with just doing what you normally do, whether it's go for a hike or go downtown and have coffee with your friends on a weekend. It's really what you make it. So.
Well, and that coffee with friends is one of those things I've definitely appreciated more as I've gotten older, for sure. And I think it probably would be wise for us to maybe explain a little bit about what Warren Worx is and some of the goals that it has, but maybe more specifically what it isn't, because it seems like there's still a little bit of misunderstanding within the community about what the goals and aims for this organization are.
Sure. So Warren Worx, it was created to help combat population decline. I think anyone that's been here for a while can probably understand that from 1970, which was our peak population, we were about 47,000, and now we're about 37. And different factors, certainly, you can't really pinpoint one reason why people are leaving, and so that's why Warren Worx was created. That's the overarching initiative, and to help do that, we had to have partnerships with a couple entities, right? So the city, the county, and then the Warren County Chamber all kind of banded together to create this initiative. And really what it is. What it's not is something that's solely focused on the city of Warren. I mean, and I get that perception. It's called Warren Worx. I think what people don't necessarily pay attention to is the tagline, we're one county
Yeah.
together as one county. And so that's
well, and there's certainly been some history of previous iterations of things that have maybe claimed to be that and then weren't. But I think within the first year, there's definitely been the things that have been accomplished have been done with a whole county.
100%. Yeah. And that's really what I want people to understand. It's not just about the city of Warren. And I think if the city of Warren wasn't called Warren and it was something different, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have that perception. But the reality is we're trying to help for the betterment of the county, not just the city. So first and foremost, want to make sure that people understand that. And with that, it's kind of tackling some of the things that have been in both the city and the county's comprehensive plans, which are a lot of the same things. Marketing, who are we, where are we located, giving Warren County more awareness for again what we have to offer, and hopefully I've talked about some of those pillars that are in the logo. That's some of those great things that we have to offer. And it's also to kind of band together with organizations and businesses to keep improving what we do have. Bringing in or helping expand the businesses that we have, maybe bringing in some new businesses. Initiative that we're doing that we're kind of partnering with the county on is a housing study. And I think, there's been some, comments here and there about why do we need a housing study? Well, because we're seeing a lot of trends where we either have a lot that might be in a higher price range that maybe people can't afford. And then there's a lot maybe in that lower price range that needs a lot of upkeep. We don't have a ton of options for those middle class,
there's not a lot of stock waiting. Like move-in ready, not a lot of work. And that's one of the things that you hear all the time is, it seems like anytime there's a new business that comes, especially if it's some kind of national chain or something. Oh, well, that's why. Where's something with the that's going to bring 100 jobs? It's like, okay, even if we did that, where are those people going to live right now? Because we don't have that housing stock available.
100%. And it's always like the cart before the horse, right? Like what comes first? Obviously, we know what comes first. However, in people's minds, I want to bring in business. Everybody, the city, the county, the chamber, we want to bring in business, but we have to fix a couple things before we can do that. And I think the housing study that will start to take place over the next month or so, a 6-month process, will help us identify where are we lacking and what are those next steps for us to get that good infrastructure in place. And so then we can go after grants to bring in money so that we can help and we can start to get these things in place so that when we do want to bring in or hopefully bring in a big business, we're able to use the workforce that we have and then bring other people in that, maybe be following that business or relocating because of that business. We have a sufficient housing for them. And so again, it's always going to be, what do we need to do in order to bring in these big things? We always have to take a look at, is the infrastructure in place? And if it's not, what are the steps we need to do to get that fixed? Right.
Well, and when you mentioned the comprehensive plans and, one of the things that I've kind of seen and heard out and about around the county is, is this a duplication of effort? Right. Okay. So the city and the county create these comprehensive plans. Well, shouldn't it just be on them to implement them? Theoretically, it should. But we're at how many iterations of these comprehensive plans now? And many of them, they get finished and everybody thinks it's great. And this is wonderful what we're going to do. And then those comp plans sit on a shelf somewhere and gather dust. And so it seems like kind of your impetus is, all right, let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Right. Sure.
And go through this and say, okay, who should be in charge of kind of each thing? And then how can we get them the resources?
Right. Yeah. And honestly, those are great plans. I mean, they have engineers behind that are helping work with that and what those goals are. They're great plans. But to your point, because they're so comprehensive and there's a lot of stuff in there, even if they tackled one or two issues a year, it's hard. So why not take the similarities between both and try to have an entity that kind of tries to steer and get outside stakeholders involved so that we can take those things and put them into action. And so, Warren Worx, do they think it's duplicative? Sure. And maybe to a degree it is. However, we're going to be that guiding light to start bringing some of these things to action that maybe the city and comprehensive plan are tackling the same thing.
Right.
Let's bring it together in one area and start pushing it and moving it forward. And that's why we're collaborating with them. That's why we're trying to figure out how can the city, the county, and other important stakeholders come together to start making progress in some of these areas.
Well, and you talk about some of the resources and the grant fundings and things like that. And, there are some duplicative things within the two comprehensive plans. Sure. And if you say, okay, well, you both want to do, as an example, say, both the city and the county wanted to repaint street lines on roads across the county. Well, instead of both of them submitting grant applications for that, they can say, hey, Warren Worx, can you submit a grant application? And, that's a different kind of thing, but it's just, but to get it all under one umbrella and say, okay, here it goes. And now, here's funding to get it done countywide.
Sure. And the funding is obviously also a hot topic with people. And, I've seen comments on social and, we've certainly received letters from people within the county about why we're asking, in order to do some of this stuff. Not only do we apply for grants or other entities, but we also need some funding from those two big areas, the city and the county, to help push those projects forward. It would be money that they would potentially be spending on that initiative anyway. So again, we're kind of just spearheading it and helping it move along. The other part is that was in both their comprehensive plans was marketing the county and marketing the city. And so that's a huge part of my job. And so again, taking those dollars and we're marketing it externally so that, again, we're gaining more awareness for who we are, doing projects work, doing marketing. That's what that funding is going towards. It's not just purely marketing and fancy videos and things like that. It's trying to get real progress done in those actions from those plans. We're just the entity that's kind of spearheading it and working and collaborating with other groups that are trying to get it done. So.
Well, and and we're far from the only county that's spending money marketing, right? I mean, listen, anybody who's listened to any of our fall sports broadcasts have heard, your view of the core of the field. That's Venango County. They're spending money to get people interested in coming to their area too. And it's not, and I've said to people many times over the last couple of years, this can't be an isolated attempt, right? Like not just within our county, but like our county, Venango County, Crawford, McKean, the more collaboration we can get, the better, because we're not an island unto ourselves. And it's not like we're the only ones experiencing population decline and, aging populations and things like that. This is a regional thing. And the more we can work together and collaborate on those things. And I think, we just had the Kinsey Rocks the Wake was kind of a collaboration between Warren and McKean counties, and that turned out to be a huge event that benefited both. And the more things like that we can do, the better off we're all going to be.
And to your point, the Center for Rural PA, Kyle Kopko, has been pretty integral with this process and helped kick off this initiative last June. And he spoke at our event, and he said the same thing. Rural Pennsylvania, every rural area is seeing population decline and seeing these challenges. And it takes an effort like ours, or like, maybe what Venango's doing or what Crawford's doing, to kind of make more awareness for who you are, where you're located, and the assets that you have that people can take advantage of. I mean, if we don't do anything, we know what's going to happen. We're going to continue to decline in population. Our economy is going to take a huge hit. And then we're left with
the remnants.
Businesses taking themselves elsewhere. And so if we don't do something to help combat this, our fate, we know what our fate's going to be. And so I'm just so glad that I could be a part of it and try to make that change and put Warren County more on the map, both in Pennsylvania and our surrounding states. So.
Well, and like you said, and I think the biggest thing that people have to understand is there's nothing that we're going to do that's going to be a quick fix. It's just not, you can't look at this and by this point next year say, we solved it, we fixed it. It's just not reality.
No.
The reality is this has been a 50-year issue. it's not going to get fixed in 1 or 2 or even 5 years probably. And I know, when the meetings and everything were initially getting underway, you and John Pavolay both said repeatedly, this is not going to be something that's done in a year and we've solved it and we're good to go. And it's a generational view of how can we first stem the flow and then somehow find a way to turn it around.
Sure. Yeah. It's both a retainment and an acquisition.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to retain the population that we currently have and then certainly grow from there. But yeah, it's not going to happen in a year.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, in 2 years. We look at it from a 5 to 10 year plan, to be honest. I mean, that's how you kind of start to make the change and you make the changes that you need to make, turn some things around and that perception and that awareness, and you get. Maybe it's starting with getting more people just to visit Warren County. The Tourism Bureau was doing great things already, and they've been doing great things. Yeah. And so maybe with the other marketing from what we're doing, we're getting more people into Warren County and just seeing what we have and who we are. And then you start to kind of change the minds of some people. Right, yeah. Oh, it's a really great place. Maybe looking to relocate or something like that. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be an overnight fix. And if it was,
at some point,
it's a phenomenon, right?
Well, and you would think if there was a quick fix to it, right? At some point in the last 50 years, somebody would have thought of it.
Everyone would do it.
And I know a lot of people kind of looked at the brand launch and well, it took a year for this to come out, but that's you were working on that for that duration, but that's not the only thing that you were doing over the past year.
Absolutely not.
And so with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about all the stuff that you've been doing over the last year. We'll be back with more Coffee and a Conversation right after this.
Make 2025 the year you take the next step in your career with a first aid and CPR training or professional development seminar at the Warren Forest High Ed Council. Learn how to make college affordable at the Navigating Local Scholarship Seminar, or grow your personal skill set with a News Briefs Made Simple class. Go to high-ed.org or call 814-723-3222 to register now. The Warren Forest High Ed Council, your access to lifelong learning. Founded in 1978 and headquartered in Warren, Pennsylvania General Energy has become a leading oil and natural gas producer in the Appalachian Basin. PGE is a proud and growing organization making positive contributions to the region's economy and environment. We are equally proud of our commitment to safety and environmental programs. PGE is a strong, family-oriented company that believes in giving back to the communities in which we live, work, and play. PGE, producing the energy we need, protecting the environment we treasure.
Get him, he cannot! Caleb Jacobzak, gonna go 90!
High school sports aren't just games, they're the heart of the community. And now, your Daily Local is giving our high school athletes the spotlight they deserve. With dedicated broadcast teams and reporters covering each school, we're bringing every play, every highlight, and every unforgettable moment straight to fans. Now your business can be part of the action. Sponsoring local high school sports means more than just advertising. It means connecting with thousands of students, families, and fans who love this community just as much as you do. With live broadcasts, social media promotions, website features, and more, your brand will be front and center during the biggest moments of the season. Don't miss this opportunity to showcase your business and support our local athletes. Sponsorships are limited, so act now. Join us in making high school sports bigger than ever. Contact us today at sales@yourdailylocal.com or call 814-688-6810 to secure your spot.
And welcome back to Coffee and a Conversation here on Your Daily Local. Brian Hagberg this week with Warren Worx Marketing Director Jenny Phillips. And Jenny, before we went to break, we mentioned, a lot of people kind of outwardly saw the brand and the launch party, and that took a little over a year to get it finalized and out to the public. But that's not all you were working on in that last year. And I think it's important for people to know that there are other things going on. This was not just you spent a year sitting, with Photoshop or something, designing a logo. So what are some of the other things that Worx has kind of jump started in the last year?
Yeah. So marketing, obviously, big thing. But marketing's one thing, and it's probably the most outward facing thing that people see for sure. But I've always said that it's the project work behind the scenes that are really what's going to make a difference. Yeah. And so we have 2 subcommittees that we meet on a monthly basis, business development, and then quality of life, community revitalization. And so within those subcommittees, we're doing work on things that have been identified that are most important to kind of start to make those progress. Yeah. And one of them was obviously, we can all agree that Wi-Fi and internet access is an issue in Warren County. And so we decided that through some of our funding, we would help fund and purchase hotspots for 5 of our communities. So the city of Warren, Sheffield, Tidiute, Youngsville, and Sugar Grove all got mobile hotspots. Youngsville did it through Youngsville Cable. Sure. Which is a great business out there that they're able to provide. And then the other 4 communities got Starlink mobile hotspots. The beauty of them is they're mobile. So if you have an event somewhere, you can kind of move it in whatever area would deem necessary for that event. And then people are able to, again, have free Wi-Fi. Vendors are able to do, what they need to do.
Credit card transactions and stuff. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
For their commerce. Yeah. And then with that, we also wanted to give mini grants to those areas so that they can either bring in a new event, enhance an event that they already have. And so, we were able to do that through the funding that we were receiving from some private foundations. And so with that, one of the big success stories is Tidiute. I mean, they were their World War II reenactment since COVID had really hadn't been able to bring back. They couldn't get the funding and through there. And so with this, even it was $1,000 mini grant. They were able to kind of take that over the top and then bring that back and have that within their community. And it's always been such a cool thing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Growing up, I visit Tidiute in the summers. My dad's from there, so my grandparents and my cousins were there. So definitely a community that kind of sits well in my heart. But really glad that they were able to do that, and those are the things that we want to help our communities do, because again, what's good for their communities is going to be good for the county.
Right. Well, and you mentioned the tourism aspect of it a while back, and that's certainly an event that brings in a lot of tourists, and with the state fishing tournament down there as well, another huge event. And like you said, with them now having access to that mobile Wi-Fi, that's going to help those vendors out, maybe make that event a little more enticing for vendors. And then also it's going to give people, especially that younger generation who you're trying to retain and capture and say, hey, this is a place to kind of come hang out. They're going to be able to do, their social media posts and videos and share with their friends and stuff like that in a much easier way than they would have previously.
Yeah. And especially coming off the water in the summers.
Oh yeah.
I do know that, today has plans to put the hotspot down near the boat launch, because that has kind of a spotty reception area. And so again, people floating down the river, coming off the water there, they might have access to, check their phones and, again, if there's an emergency situation, hopefully never happening, but, they have access to call out if they need to. So so super, super glad that we're able to kind of help those communities out. Sugar Grove created a new event. They did a music in their downtown park area and had vendors there, and
they started doing a farmer's market up there too over the summer. Which is another, again, you've got vendors there, and if they want to have access to card transactions,
for some people it might seem, oh, that's pretty simple, but for some of these boroughs, municipalities, it might not be something that they can afford, or they have to set money aside. And so
or would it have even been a thought?
Right. And so any way we can help, because we want to make sure that we're helping each one of our communities, and not just the 5 I listed, but how else can we help maybe these smaller areas as well. So definitely been a big initiative there. And the other thing from that standpoint is we want to also make sure that all of our communities have kind of a revitalization group, helping to make their downtowns and their main streets, upkept and,
Right,
and maybe new paint jobs on the buildings or new signage that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So some of our communities already have it. Roy in Youngsville,
Sure.
that's they have a great group out there.
Right.
Russell, I believe, has one. Tidiute does
Right.
Heart and Soul,
Right.
and so we helped establish
Roar.
groups.
Roar.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
Roar.
it's Roar.
Yep,
Roar.
Roar
Yep.
and Russell.
I was
Yeah, I got
percolating
it.
on that, right? Yeah.
And so Sheffield and Sugar Grove, we were able
Yeah.
to help them get some of their own revitalization groups
Yeah.
together. Sugar Grove has been super active. They've kind of been knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Sheffield's, they're working through it, and so we're
Mhm.
going to keep providing that guidance and assistance that they need. And any other community that's looking to potentially do one, we're
Yeah.
all ready to help. So definitely want to put a plug up there. If any other smaller communities want to get a
Yeah.
group together, please reach out and we'll for sure provide some resources and help in any way that we can. So
Well, and the biggest key for that is that it's internal, right? It's people who live there, work
Mhm.
there, recreate there, have a vested interest in,
Right.
seeing those communities revitalized, and now they've got kind of the means
Yeah.
and the way to get things going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they can take charge and say, okay, well, we want to see X, Y, or Z. All right, well, how do we do that? And then that's where Warren Worx acts maybe as a facilitator of, hey, we want to do something like the mobile hotspots things,
Sure.
but we don't know how to get grant funding for it.
Sure.
They can reach out to Warren
Let's-
Worx and figure out a way to get that done.
So, or if we don't have the answer, we'll point you in the direction that somebody
Sure.
that does.
Yeah.
That's also the beauty of it is people coming to the table that want to be involved. Everybody has expertise in
Yeah.
some area, and
Something,
so that's why collaboration is so key.
Mhm.
Is if you have all this information about grants and what grants to do, I'd love for you to come to the table, tell us,
Sure.
give
yeah.
us some help, because we're
Yeah.
not going to have all the answers, and that's why it's so key to collaborate with other
Yeah.
people.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're going to turn down an idea, right? I mean,
No.
no. So yeah. So, I mean, if there's things that you're sitting there and you go, oh, I'd love to see
XY. Let us know.
whatever,
Yeah.
let somebody know, reach out, make that suggestion and then
Yeah.
see if there's a way, can you maybe act as the facilitator for it?
Right.
Can you lead the charge? Can you find other people that are also interested in whatever it is that may be in your community, in our community, I should say. I shouldn't say, that's going to help make the community better.
Yeah.
Work together, get it done, and then Warren Worx is here to help you.
Yeah, I will say, the people that I've met through this position and
Yeah.
this initiative are people that I probably wouldn't have had exposure to.
Sure.
And just what I've learned and the resources that I've seen come to the
Mhm.
table, we have so many people that care about Warren County and that want to see something done.
Yeah.
It's just maybe they didn't have the means to do it, or they
Mhm.
didn't have the resources or the know how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just been really great. And another great thing that we've been able to do through our quality of life committee is help a new local arts agency kind of become established and form, and that's Create Community. Our acting director right now is Aaron Wallace, and Aaron's been super instrumental in getting that as a 501(c) status. And I'm on the board, which has been something that I've had to learn a ton
Right,
about, and what a board needs to do and how they need to come about, and paperwork and things like that. So it's been super beneficial just for me,
Sure,
from
yeah.
a personal standpoint.
Right.
And so that's something that's been really great, and that's what we've been able to offer her,
Yeah.
is to get her, what she needs to know and the steps she needs to take to get off the ground and get an organization created. So
And again, falling right in that pillar of,
Yeah.
Culture and history and, I
quality
think,
of life.
yeah, and I think we've got, I don't know that people fully understand the very rich arts culture that we have
We
here,
do.
not, and not just art as in, it hangs on the
on the
wall or
wall,
sculpture
yeah.
or whatever, but I mean, we've got that, yes, performing arts, music, drama, all of that, and a very rich history of it. And I think that's a lot of that's starting to kind of come to the forefront in the last few years.
Yeah, God, the Struthers Library Theater and
Sure,
what they're
yeah.
doing and who they're bringing in is insane. And then even the school system with
Yeah.
all the plays and the musicals that they
Mhm.
do and the talent that comes
Yeah.
from a school district, and St.
Warren,
Joe's
Warren
and-
players, and
Yeah,
then,
I mean-
the amount of kids between the theater, the SLT Academy, and the amount of kids that I've seen in the last few Warren Players productions, that's so key to keeping those things thriving. Is you've got to get kids interested in it, and then give them an outlet to where they can actually participate.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's just been amazing to see. I mean, I did, when I was in high school, many moons ago, I was in Youth Connection, which was a non-affiliated school group, and it was a show choir, and learning songs and dance, and then going out in the community and the schools and the nursing homes, and just doing that and seeing the smiling faces of people. It's incredible. It kind of gives you that sense of like, I just did that. Like that's something I was able to make someone happy today. And so what these kids do, that's exactly it's heartwarming, and it's just see the talent and the courageousness of someone wanting to get in front of a ton of people. It's huge. I mean,
absolutely.
And so really great things. And the Prairie is amazing. And the festivals that we have here, the Kinzu Heritage Festival, like we do have so much stuff that I hope that more people can get involved and go out and see what these people are doing.
Oh yeah. It's been fantastic. Great. Yeah. And again, really kind of dispelling that notion that there's nothing to do here. I mean, that's, I kind of look at that maybe that's probably the most realistic short-term goal, is to kind of decrease the amount of people who share that belief.
Right.
Because I know, right? Like when we were in school, it was everybody had that, and now you kind of come back and you're going, all right, it's still there, but I think there's a bit less because we've done a better job of getting some of these things out there, but still it's probably higher than it needs to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I try to interact with kids as much as I can, going to the career center, and obviously the basketball team, I'm always tapping into those girls' brains.
And you've got a student committee, right? So
we had Worx had a junior committee last year, kind of in the brand creation, tapping their brains and trying to figure out, what resonates with you, because again, those are
that's your target audience, right? Yeah.
And I really think it's getting more awareness to that group of what we have to offer, from the resounding, well, there's nothing to do here. Yeah. Well, but there's so much to do, but it's maybe they just don't know. And so what can we do to figure out how we can get these kids more involved in maybe those festivals or those events, fundraising opportunities? So we have an intern at the chamber, and we'll help with Worx as well. And I just want to tap into her brain, and I want to get her involved and her to see all this stuff so that she understands this is a great place to be.
Yeah.
And so whether you go to college or whether you go to a technical school or whether you just want to stay in the workforce, people can be successful here.
There's opportunity.
There's opportunity, 100%. Yep. So,
and I know, and I just saw there's an initiative being put out by High Ed, which we're sitting in their classroom today. Yeah. But trying to maintain connection with those kids when they graduate, to keep them in the loop of everything that's going on here, and just to make sure that they're still connected, and that if they want to, they can come home.
Yeah. And I just met with John, Emily, and Angie the other day about it. Great idea. I mean, that was a great idea. And really that's what I want to do too. Right. So, hey, again, all about collaboration. Let's figure out how we can band together and make this a successful program so that we are retaining, or we're in constant communication with those kids. I mean, anyone that knows a young kid in our school district knows that these kids are getting good educations, and they're going off to college and they're doing really great things, or they're going into the workforce and being so super successful. And I think that that just should be something that's highlighted, because I mean, I know in my family personally, my nieces and nephews, they're all kind of doing great things. And if they didn't have what they had here, those opportunities and being raised in Warren, I don't know that they.
So we've talked several times about the brand and the launch and everything, and this is not just a Warren Worx brand, right? This is a countywide thing 100%. That if you're a business or an organization, there's a way that you can go in and incorporate some of this branding into their marketing material. So if somebody wants to do that, how do they do that?
Yeah. So through this initiative, as well as the brand launch, we wanted to launch a new website, and it's warrencountypa.com, and it is a resource hub for all things Warren County. Definitely something that will always be a work in progress. We're
Yeah.
always going to maintain it, update it as best we can. New things that come in, we're going to make sure that they're included. But it's a way for when we're driving our marketing efforts, we want people to come take an action. So we want to point them to the website so they can learn all about, how might you live here, work here, start a business here, explore here, which is huge.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's that first stop. And then we're going to point them to the experts in that area.
Yeah.
So you want to learn about our key industries. Here's all about our key industries. And then if you want to know about a business, we're going to take you right to their website because they're the experts in that area. You want to look for a job here. We're going to talk about all the ways through Warren County you can look for jobs and apply for jobs. And so with that, we also want the current businesses and organizations to partner with us because I can reach an audience, that a target audience that, I think, I should serve my marketing to, but I might not hit your audience.
Right.
So let's band together and figure out how we can get the most exposure to Warren County. So on our website, in the footer of our website, we have a brand toolkit. And on that page, you can learn all about our brand, the guidelines, and then you can download our logos and use them on your own marketing materials. Definitely want to make sure that we can get as much collaboration, and it could be as simple as putting our logo on your website and then linking to the Warren County website.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it could be, you putting our logo on maybe some of your marketing materials that you send out. It's just different forms of how we can provide more resource to those people that are interested in Warren County. Yeah. I'm always available to help any small business or even large business with how they would integrate this into or township, municipality.
Well, and I think that's kind of key to point out is that it's an integration. It's not like taking over their marketing stuff.
100%.
It's an add-on kind of thing to just show that, hey, we are part of this larger Warren County initiative. And, if you go there, if you go here, you can check them out too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's contact us forums on the website. And if anybody has a question or, see something that maybe we're missing on this, please fill it out. It's going to come right to me and I'll work as best I can. And, we have a lot of big things coming in 2026 with our website and some initiatives that we want to do, like a blog and a virtual newsletter. Landing pages for some of the targeted audiences that we're going to market to about Warren County. Working with Forest Line Media, who is a local company. Dan and Tiffany moved here 4 years ago from Philadelphia because they wanted to get out of the city. They drove around for I think 2 years in a Sprinter van, and they fell in love with Warren County. And so again, that's a huge success.
So they drove around in a van and found a place down by the river. Is what you're telling me? Sorry.
That's funny. Yeah. They've been a really great asset for us.
And they're fantastic people.
Oh my God. They're so great. And what they want to do and the betterment for Warren County, it's been really great to work with them. So some big things coming in 2026.
Well, and that's exactly, when you look at people that maybe we're trying to target with this, that they're it, right? It's how do we find more folks like that who not only want to come here, but now they're here and they want to be invested and help make the community a better place.
Yeah. And it's kind of a hard market to target because sometimes it's just on a whim.
Well,
I want to go.
They drove around and found a place.
I want to live in a small town, sick of the city life. And so, I'm in the industry in welding, let's target people that are in that industry and let them know about the great companies that we have here that offer that specialty. And so, the biggest thing I'll say is the more collaboration that we can have as a county, the better that we're going to be in the future.
Absolutely.
And I know, we're always going to have the negative comments and people are going to disagree with what we're doing, but I encourage them to get involved.
It's 50 years of kind of, having been beat down a little bit as a community. And that's going to take a long time to change.
Yeah,
but
something's got to change. And, I encourage people to get involved. We have bi-monthly stakeholder meetings, which our next one is next Wednesday night at 5:30 at the regional college on the 4th floor. Our subcommittees, we have subcommittee meetings. I would say Facebook, the Warren Worx Facebook page is the best resource for our meetings and
you're able to, at least for the subcommittee meetings, right? You're still having like a Teams option. So if somebody can't come to the office, you can still remote in and be included. Yeah.
And, we welcome anybody and everybody because if you have a voice and you want to see a change, get involved. That's the only way that we're going to be as successful as we can be is if people want to collaborate and buy in to what we're doing. And it's not just the marketing part. It's the project work behind the scenes that is going to help little by little. And then all of a sudden we have what's in place so that we can make those big changes.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
And there are a lot of big things coming on the horizon for Warren County. We've got the working on development of the disc golf course and the children's museum, and all of these things and the riverfront development is in the works. And that, these are all, they're big things. Those are big deals for Warren County.
And there's even things that are people maybe don't know about. It's businesses and access for people.
Sure.
It's working with getting new towers so that 911 we better calls to 911 and access to,
and they did it in a cost efficient way too. And
it's not just the outward facing stuff. It's also maybe those behind the scenes that are just infrastructure upgrades so that we're a safer, more accessible community for everybody that's here and that wants to visit. So,
well, and I think back, even just in the last year, the number of ribbon cuttings that I've been to, that I've covered, and I haven't even been to all of them. There's sometimes there's stuff goes on. Listen, if you're doing a ribbon cutting, don't do it on a Friday night in the fall. All right, it's just not not conducive to good media coverage. But people say, well, where the big business, but that's where it starts with the small businesses and people being invested and putting down roots and saying, I want to open my business here because I think this is the best place for us to be successful.
Yeah, the small businesses that we have across the county, it's insane. To your point, it's like I almost feel like the chamber gets an email about a new business all the time, and it's just whatever we can do to help, even if it's just you have an idea. Give us a call. We have a great partnership with the Gannon Small Business Development Center, and they're always willing to meet with you and figure out what are your business plans. Is it feasible? Is it accessible? And let's help you. What resources do you need to maybe get it off the ground? And so we've had a lot of success with that organization. And I would urge anyone that has an idea, at least put it on the table
out there,
and figure it out. See if it's a feasible thing. So
no idea is a bad idea until it's been fleshed out completely, right? So not everything's going to work.
Right.
Obviously, that's just the nature of life. But you can't know unless you put it out there, and see if it's going to work.
And I would even say, even the small businesses that we have, if you have questions about maybe expansion and things like that, that's also a resource for you.
Sure.
So, I think we're in the business of small business, and obviously also want to make sure that those large businesses know about who we are. But the network of small businesses in Warren County is amazing.
And hopefully, it's only going to continue to grow.
Hopefully.
So. Just kind of real briefly, you touched on some of the things that you have coming up. What are kind of maybe the next, project things that people will see, that outward facing things that you're looking at to try to get completed in 2026?
Yeah, I think, some of it is certainly we do want to expand our hotspot and mini grants to other areas. A big initiative, maybe like Warner Park, maybe in Grand Valley, in Columbus, trying to figure out maybe what those areas are. Mini grants, we also want to make sure we're giving those away. So again, it'll be getting funding for those and helping to expand that. The other part of it is potentially getting a hotspot up at the Trails of Jake's Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Because I think we all know that there's no service up there. And so from a safety standpoint, that's a huge concern. And so it's a big initiative and not something that will definitely be an overnight thing.
No.
It's going to take a lot of funding and things like that, but it's projects like that. It's also, again, helping those communities from a revitalization standpoint, helping them with projects and tying other communities together, figure out, what worked for Youngsville. We partner them with Sheffield to figure out what have you done that we can do too.
And Youngsville just recently completed the Heart and Soul program. And, there's a lot of lessons that can be taken away from that. And, and I'm sure, Wendy and the crew down there, they were big part of that, would be more than happy to help another community that wants to get involved and do the same thing and explain how it worked for them.
100%. And a couple other things is we're working with the Jam Foundation out of Erie to explore a potential new childcare center on the West End. Partnering with like Betts and Superior and Worley. I think childcare is a huge need that we have. And it wouldn't just be for those first shift workers. We're exploring it so that it can be, if you're a parent that works
second or overnight,
second or third, we want to be able to help you. So we're doing things like that. Kinsey Rocks the Wake. We're also looking to help partner with that as well through Bikini and obviously the tourism center. A River Sojourn project. So Pennsylvania 250 is coming up. Is coming up next summer, and that organization is looking to do a project or an event where it's a 14-day kayaking adventure starting at the tailwaters in Warren County, all the way down to Pittsburgh. And so they want to kick off that event in Warren County. And so we're working to see and get that plan and what that looks like. And
again, a huge boon.
Thing.
It's not just that immediate economic impact from people coming in, but again, it's people being here and eyes on and going, oh wow, right? We have a project list of maybe like 10 or 12 items, and again, it's something that we just have to keep kind of chipping away at, and that's in addition to still looking at everything in those comp plans. Right.
Yes. And marketing Warren County.
Right. Yeah.
and new initiatives and things like that. I mean, it's a big task, and I know that I've got a lot of stuff on my shoulders, and so again, collaboration is going to be key for me. And the more people that it's not just about funding; it's about people wanting to do the work, and to get some things done. Rolling up your sleeves and getting some things done. So,
All right. Well, I'm not going to keep you away from getting those things done any longer. Jenny Phillips, thank you so much for taking some time explaining Warren Worx, the initiative, what it is, what's been done, what's on the horizon. I know personally, I think this is a great initiative. It's a much needed one. And you guys are doing great work, and hopefully it continues for a long time to come. And we figure out a way to turn things around and turn this into a growing, vibrant, not just economically, but population wise and all of it too. But so again, thank you so much for taking some time with us, and thank all of you for watching this episode of Coffee and a Conversation. We'll be back with more Coffee and a Conversation in the upcoming weeks and months right here on your Daily Local. For Jenny Phillips, this is Brian Hagberg saying thank you so much for watching, and have a great weekend.
Here at Casella, we make temporary dumpster rental easy, offering services that are perfect for construction, remodeling, special events, or other short-term projects. Casella dumpsters are available in a wide range of sizes to fit any job. Our dedicated customer service team will help you choose the right size container and service level for your project and schedule hassle-free removal based on your specific needs. The right size dumpster, when you want it, where you want it, removed when you say so.